Good evening and welcome to the Chicago Westside branch. I am Phyllis Logan, your host. As always, it's Thursday, 6 p.m. and we have a good show for you this evening. We're going to follow up with some conversation that we had 2 weeks ago in reference to the electrical energy bill that was brought up during the last sessions out of Springfield, and it actually took place right last week, which is why last week's show we were not here. So we want to dig deep into what just happened in Springfield, and you'll have to hold your elected officials accountable if any hinder from this electric bill should put you into more debt than is needed. So we talked about the smart grid a couple of years ago right here in the city of Chicago. The smart meters were being placed into many homes throughout Cook County, the state of Illinois. And this smart meter gives the utility companies, specifically ComEd, the opportunity to check your usage of electric. But it also gives them hands-on to having access to your bill because the meter is electronic now. They can sit in a big room and look at how you use your utilities. So that's what the smart meter is all about. What's not taking place in a big way is people acquiring energy efficient appliances. So if you're still using an old freezer that's possibly 10, 15, 20 years old, some of the best freezers I do believe, I think, they are not up to par when it comes to saving you money on your energy bill. They use more energy. So your meter's constantly ticking off of that older appliance. Same way with an older electric stove or your washer, if it's older, or your dryer, any other appliances that you're running electricity off of that are not energy efficient. And most appliances will have this star on them that states that it's energy efficient. Should save you some money. If you're not familiar with that, look at your appliances, or if you've bought newer appliances within the last 5 years, they should be energy efficient. So we're going to talk about what just happened last week in Springfield that will affect all of us. And feel free to give me a call, 312-738-1060, with your questions or comments. And this is for everyone who pays a utility bill. So we started off the branch with an ad hoc committee. Started off with about 12 of us going through a 316-page bill. And this was back in October of this year. So the energy bill started off as a clean energy bill, 316 pages. From October, us reading, breaking this bill down, bringing back to you what the pros and cons were on this bill, things started to change in Springfield. We spoke with the NAACP, our Westside branch. We spoke with many advocates that were for the bill, as well as those that were opposing the bill. The Attorney General's office was opposing the bill, and ComEd and Exelon were wanting the bill. Then we talked with a few other advocacy groups out there under the climate justice committees from those areas, and many of them were opposing the bill as well. Well, after watching how Springfield works through the course of 2 weeks, right into Thanksgiving, and then that next week right back into Springfield, this bill was actually passed. One of the one of five areas that the Chicago Westside branch really challenged was what was initially in the bill, which was a demand rate. And we spoke to you about that on the show a couple of weeks ago. Well, that demand rate is no longer in this bill. I have to also tell you this bill was passed. And what was not in this bill were also other resources for you the very low income, fixed income residents to be able to call for assistance. So there's some small amounts of dollars in there for the LIHEAP program. So when your bill starts going up and it gets to a point that you cannot afford it, and there's no resources there to be a safety net for you, I would say that you would have no one to blame but your elected officials. So our state representatives, if you know the district that you live in, that's the person you want to call. And the second phone call you want to make is to your state senator, which is also in your district. And I always tell people, how do you know who represents you or what district or ward you're in? Is to look at your voter registration card. It gives you all of that information. So those are the people that you'll have to speak with once these rates start increasing. We were told that within this bill, that over an average of 10 years, so to speak, let's say average 10 years, the average bill for a customer should not increase more than 25 cents. That's an average. We were also told, and there was much dispute about, what's an average? Well, an average is after you weigh all of your totals out together, divide them by a certain number, you come up with a minimal or number. And that number should be no more than 25 cents. But through the process of these 10 years, possibly as soon as next year, we're hearing from some news media, as soon as next year, you may see an increase of $2, $3, $7 over the course of 2 years. If that 2 averages on for a couple of years, and that's $2 per month per bill, $7 per month per bill. That's the area where we had huge concerns with. And many of our elected officials who did not vote for this bill also had the same concerns. Our greatest fear was that very low income, fixed income customers would have utility bills that were astronomical, too much for them to bear, too much to pay. So 312-738-1060 is our number. Give me a call. And, though that was our concern, and we want to hold, as we stated to our elected officials, we want them to be held accountable for any damage that comes from this bill. This bill went from, when we started, it was a third amendment to this bill when we started with it, 316 pages. It's an amended bill, which started 2 years ago. And when this bill finalized last week, it was a little over 600 some pages, we are being told. We never got to get through the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th Amendment that was voted on, concurred, agreed upon by both the House of Representatives, our state representatives, as well as our state senators, that branch of office. And the Senate voted, and lo and behold, the governor just signed it on the 1st of December. So it's a bill, it's an act. It's a utilities retail choice gas bill, and it's a public act now, so effective immediately. And it's unfortunate that we could not have delved into the full scope of that bill, but we know that the devil's in the details, and we'll possibly see some conversations about this bill next year. So it's very disconcerting that, number one, many of our elected officials could not see the harm that this bill would do or will do in the near future. We felt that it benefited the utility companies more so than the community, the stakeholders, the customers. And not only will it affect just residential consumers, it'll affect and do harm to small businesses. If you're a mom and pop store, your electricity is going to go up. If you're running the refrigerators in your store to shelve milk and eggs and things of that nature. If you're a, let's say, a beautician or a barber, you run your electricity as well, your hair blowers, things of that nature on a regular basis. Your lights are on, ceiling fans are running. Look for your bill to increase. If you're a medium-sized company with, 5 or more employees, your utility bill, your electric bill will go up as well. And the larger your corporation is, of course, the more utilities you use and the amount of space that you hold. Look for your utility bill to increase as well. Our concern was for the residents, as I stated earlier. So we're hoping that when these bills do start coming out next year, early next year, that you, the resident, the consumer, your first phone call should be to your state legislators to let them know that harm has been done to you at no fault of your own, from their first interest possibly maybe being the utility company. I don't know. So make sure you do that when you see the increase in that bill. This bill was passed. It's a public act now. Public Act number 99-0906. It was passed actually December the 7th, this past Monday, by the Senate. And the governor also signed it this past Monday, December the 7th. And it goes into effect immediately, it states. The one thing that this bill did do, which I think was possibly the more interesting part of the bill, and it was in the governor's favor, was that it kept two utility, I don't know what you call them, I forget the names of them, oil companies, not oil companies, where they actually produce energy. It kept 2 plants open. And these plants are in Clinton County and the Quad Cities of Illinois. The governor claims or states that it saved about 4,200 jobs. 4,200 jobs compared to the number of customers. I think there was no equation to why the bill was passed more so in these facilities' favor than to the customer. So 312-738-1060. Give us a call. Let me know what you're thinking. But as I stated, this bill passed last week, became a public act this Monday, and there were 63 out of the Senate. There were 63 yeas for this bill and 38 nays. And your senators will know who they are. You can always go online to ILGA, which is the Illinois General Assembly's webpage, and look up Senate Bill 2814. And you can print it out. You can get a printout. You can also check the total votes. You can check who voted in favor of this and who voted against this. And you can do this under the House of Representatives as well as your state senators. So there's two branches, the House and the Senate. And you'll have to go into this one web page, the ILGA, the Illinois General Assembly web page, and you can look up the Senate bill. And the Senate bill will also give you the breakdown of the votes as well as more information if you're wanting to read this bill. I printed out about 12 pages of the bill as it took shape. It started off as amendment number 1 and went all the way to amendment number 10. So these were just little synopsises of the complete bill. You can always go online and print this entire bill if you ever get bored and have nothing to do and just want to read. But many times it's in your favor to read the law and how it truly affects you. One thing that we were all excited about, the ad hoc group, was that it gave us an opportunity to break this bill up in parts and then share what our thoughts were from the portions that we each read. And it gave us a little bit more camaraderie working in a group toward truly something for our community. We advocate on civil rights issues, making sure that there's no discrimination, make sure that people are being given access to resources, that when there's resources available and they don't know, we try to share those when we find out. But reading this bill, and we're going to get started on some other bills, I do believe, soon, it gave us an opportunity to really sit with each other and talk about the bill and how it affects our daily lives and how it would affect the communities at large that we represent. But I think it also gave us a good instinct of knowing that when we find things difficult and we get started on them, we find out they're really not difficult at all. So it was a true experience when we finally settled down. There were about maybe 5, 6 of us that really stuck to diving into this bill and breaking it up and deciphering what was in it. And I hope we look forward to doing that more in the near future, which I think we will. But as always, we welcome you, our audience, to, call us, call our office. We're open for individuals, members, the public to participate in what we do. We can always use more members to help us with these challenges sometimes, or these goals that we set for ourselves. And, we're the Chicago Westside branch. We're located at 5820 West Chicago Avenue, but write down this number, 773-261-5890. That's our office number, and you can always call if you need more information. If you have other concerns or issues that one of our committee chairs or President Carl Brinson could help out with. And our monthly meetings are the first Saturday of every month at 1 p.m. And as I stated, we are open to the public, and membership, new members, are always welcome. There's nothing like having more people with the same goals and objectives, working for the same cause in the same direction, helping each other, but helping a broad-based group of people. We service throughout the West Side, but we're not just for the West Side. That's the name of our branch. But we have members throughout Chicago, as well as the western suburbs, the south suburban communities, the north side. So we are open, and we invite anyone who can make it to our monthly meetings and share in the experiences that we get from, servicing you, the public, our communities. But we also have passion about what we do. So if there's an area that you're passionate about, if you like working with on youth programs, we are very huge with in that area. We have other committees. The Health Committee works on health issues, housing and economic development, economic sustainability. That's an area that I focus on. I have a passion for that. And, we have education. Education is a huge thing. It covers across the board, from daycare issues all the way up to high school as well as college. We have an education committee that is very passionate about the work that they do, and we could always use more members like you. Just give us your time. That's all that it costs you, is your time. Maybe 1 or 2 hours out of the month for committee meetings. And then on that Saturday, that first Saturday of every month, the committees come back and report to the whole. So even if you're a guest on that first Saturday, you get to hear about all of the work that our committees do. And we appreciate that. We have so many people that walk in to say, I didn't know that the NAACP was doing so much. We literally do a lot, but we can do more, which is why, the last couple of months, we've been working to do membership appeals. So a couple of us have gone out to our local churches. We continue to go out to our local churches to invite our friends, our family members to join. And this is a time for giving, and the cost of membership, as our leaderships would say, is less than the cost of you and an associate partner going to the movie. But everyone is welcomed. Your time and your talent is appreciated, and there's many areas that we can tackle together. So we invite you. I'm going to give you the number again, 773-261-5890. And we're coming to a close, but I want you to be able to make sure you get the address and the phone number. But on the first Saturday of every month at 1 p.m. at 5820 West Chicago Avenue, that's our office location as well as our meeting location. And our meetings are open to the public. We invite you to come out to be a part of what we're doing. And there's so many more issues that we have to keep abreast of and share within our communities that we service and that we live in. And the more people we have, the more voices we're able to spread the knowledge out to a broader population of people. Our concerns, our hearts are big, and our concerns are wide, and the more the merrier. So, we want to invite you out. So this energy bill, we just want you to be aware of it. Going back to it, you're on the smart grid now, and with the smart grid, your energy bill, because of this new public act, your utility bill may be going up real soon. If it does, you need to call your state representatives, your state senators, and ask them what did they do for you. That's the best way I can put it. And let them know that this was a bill that the NAACP, the Chicago Westside, as well as our statewide units, because this bill affects everyone in the state of Illinois. So we come prepared with, from a statewide perspective, with enough people behind us to say to all of our state elected officials that we oppose this bill. We know that it will do some harm to our communities, and we just want to be on your side and make you aware that we're on your side. I am Phyllis Logan, your host, and I look to hear back from you possibly on the first Saturday of January, but I'll see you next Thursday with some more information on HUD's Section 3. So that's what we'll be talking about next Thursday. I look to see you then. Have a good evening.